I'm Madam Rumley. It is Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, week 21, February 16th, and today's lesson is l'achat des vêtements, or buying clothes. Happy Valentine's Day the other day. Hope you guys had a good holiday with your loved ones, which, doesn't have to be necessarily a special girl or boy. It could just be anyone you love. Le programme pour aujourd'hui est prière, écriture, cultural corner, leçon 17, and devoir. All right, so let's get started. Father, thank you so much for this class. I'm so thankful that we're connected now and things are working. I ask that you would keep us free of tech problems today, and that today's lesson would be really beneficial and efficient, that many students' mics would work and voices would work, and this time would be glorifying to you. We give it up to you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. L'écriture pour aujourd'hui vient de Jean 14:15. John 14:15. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. If you love me, keep my commandments. This might be a verse that you would kind of be able to guess what it means without the English translation, I think, because you know a lot of these words. Si is if, vous, you, and then love. Here we have the EZ ending here, which tells us it matches the vous here. So if you love, and then me. What's hiding in here is, hold on, it's not letting me type. Me aimer. But of course we can't have the E and the A next to each other, so they become a contraction there. But that means loving me. But don't even worry too much about that, because that's not even French one. Garder, like guard or keep, hold on to. Mes commandements, my commandments. We learned this possessive adjective one of the last weeks. Jean 14:15. So tout le monde levez les mains? Oops. It's not letting me. It's not letting me get rid of these little scratch marks. Okay. Very good. All right. Elizabeth, you're up first. Vas-y. Yes.
Could you say the third word again?
Mémé.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14,
15.
15.
Good.
14, 15.
Yeah, perfect. That sounded great. Well done, Elizabeth. All right, Esther, you're up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14, 15.
Good job, Esther. No corrections. Madison. Mm-hmm.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14, 15.
Good. You guys are rocking this. I can't even be nitpicky. Emma, your turn.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14, 15.
Excellent. Xavier. Mm-hmm.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:5.
So we actually pronounce Jean, the John as Jean.
Jean.
Good. Very good. Well done, Xavier. Rachel?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:5.
Good. Very good. MJ? Excellent. Like trying to think of ways to be nitpicky with you guys, but Emily? Yes.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:5.
Good. Awesome. Charlotte?
Hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:4.
Great. Excellent. Jonathan? Mm-hmm. Great. This verse is like way too easy for you guys. Jaina?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Natalie, 8.
Good. Well done. Sarah?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Could you just get on really quick?
Of course. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements.
Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:4.
Good. In that word garder, the EZ makes an A sound. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect fix. Well done. Faith, your turn. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. Um, yeah, you did it like ever so slightly, but there's a tendency when we see the letter contracting with a word to kind of make it a separate sound, like ma or something like that, or mem. I don't know, but you need to just pretend as if it's spelled like this, mem me. Pretend like it's one word. That's how you pronounce it. All right, Yana.
Okay. Si vous m'aimez, gardez mes commandements. Jean 14:5.
That was excellent, Yana. Well done. Ethan, your turn. Good job, Ethan. You could you try pronouncing these words again without pronouncing when there's a consonant by itself at the end, we don't pronounce it. So you said memes and gardez and mes, but we say meme, garder, me. Très bien. Good fix. Well done. All right. Let's see. Good. Okay. Good job, you guys. Well done. That verse was an accidental Valentine's Day, slightly themed one that it just lined up perfectly. That was kind of cool. All right, today's cultural corner is about les vêtements. As I like to do when we're starting a new unit, they have a cultural corner at the beginning that matches the theme of the unit. So let's look at page 256 to 257. This is about clothes and stores. Okay, page 256 says, France is a leader in high fashion. French fashion design houses such as Dior, Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, and Pierre Cardin are known all over the world for the style and quality of their creations. French young people like to be in style. Even if their clothes are casual, not too expensive, depending on their budgets, they buy clothes at Une Grande Surface is a low-cost chain store. Un Grand Magasin, department store. Une boutique de vêtements, clothing store. Une boutique de solde, discount clothing shop. So if something is on sale, it's sold, S-O-L-D-E-S. You'll probably, if you ever go to France, you'll see signs in the windows all the time, just like we have signs that say like 50% sale or 20% sale or whatever it is. You'll see the word sold in the window a lot. And then finally, le marché aux puces. Marché is a market, but aux puces means it's a flea market, kind of an outdoor, usually, thing. And then there are some pictures of people buying clothes that you guys can look at. So there's all different kinds of stores that you can buy clothes at, just like in the United States, and these are the names of them. And I put a picture here of La Galerie Lafayette, which is a huge, huge, huge shopping center, essentially. It takes up, I think, a few blocks in Paris. And inside are all maybe every sort of clothing kind of shop you can find with all the high-end things. I bought perfume there as a teenager in the bottom floor, and but there are lots of little boutique things. I remember my sisters and I buying cheap, like affordable, kind of little cool artsy clothes at a little boutique in there. So if you like clothes and fashion and you go to Paris, it might be worth walking around. I think Vegas tries to look like places like these. It is very well lit up and decorative, very decorative. I think the building itself is quite beautiful, like most places in Paris. They've been around for a long time. Um, yeah. All right. And then a side note, kind of a little cultural thing. I'm speaking in generalizations, but generally speaking, the French people value quality over quantity. So I don't know what your guys' experience are, but in my experience in the United States, people tend to have bigger closets with more clothes. And it's weird if you wear I remember getting made fun of in school for wearing like the same shirt twice in a week or something like that. Or when I lived in LA, it was even worse, like twice every in a 2-week period or something. um, Indeed. um, and people tend to have the value tends to be on having a wider variety of clothes, and not necessarily expensive brands. I mean, of course, in the States, people care about brand names, but I think generally speaking, in the U.S., people care about having a variety and a higher quantity. In France, it's kind of the opposite. And again, I'm speaking generally. at least when I was a kid there, people. I remember my parents telling a story of meeting this woman when they first moved there, and she had this like beautiful, super expensive kind of designer. I don't know what was it, like a dress suit kind of thing, like a really pretty expensive outfit. And they're like, wow, like that's like the real thing, like that's super expensive. And then they saw her wear it like the next time they saw her and the next time, and she wore it quite often. And that's kind of normal in France to have your like one or two, or maybe obviously more than two, but like fewer, more high quality clothings. Um, that's kind of my experience with French people. So America tends to be more on the quantity side. France tends to be more on the quality. But again, this is generalizations. How about you guys? What are your experiences in the States? Quality or quantity? My aunt would spend $1,000 on a coat, but she said it would last forever, and that's pretty true. Quantity, yeah. Any boys too want to say? Because input. Oh, Xavier said quality. Interesting. I have all my clothes from Target. Yeah. And also, almost no one in France uses dryers on their clothes. They all hang dry because dryers ruin your clothes. I actually kind of agree. It ruins your clothes. They wear out much faster. Oh, that's cool, Jana. I prefer quality, but the world seems to be quantity. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, again, I'm speaking generalizations. And I think sometimes with some boys, you guys boys can correct me, but I think with boys it can be a little bit more on quality, I guess, depending on what kind of group you're in. Oh, you have a lot of French relatives. That's funny. Okay, so maybe that's where that's your family culture. Um, my aunt said that they take a cold shower in their jeans to wear them in. I haven't heard of that. Interesting. Well, yeah. So that's um yeah, there's a little cultural corner bit about clothing in France. All right. Flash vocab. How do we say the near future? In the chat now, tell me what are the two parts of the near future when we want to express that. And near future is something is going to happen. There are two parts. The first part is aller, yes. The second part is okay, few people are answering and not too quickly. So make sure you lock this one away. This is really important, especially for this unit because we'll be using it constantly. The infinitive. So the first part is the verb aller, which we conjugate in the present tense. And the second part is the action verb, the main thing that we're actually doing, like swimming or eating or dancing. And it is not conjugated, or as we say, infinitive. I don't know if you can read that very well. All right. So in the chat, everyone, please translate for me. I am going to swim. I am going to swim. I don't see anyone typing. Am I having lag? All right, it's working. Okay, so translate for me in the chat. I am going to swim. Perfect. I like how quickly you're answering. Je vais nager. Good. So we have our subject is I, and then we have our, I'm going to swim. Okay, so I'm going to do aller conjugated in the present, and then my action verb is swimming, and so I'm going to keep that in the infinitive. Very good. Can you please translate for me? We are going to eat. Très bien. So we have our subject we, nous, our verb aller conjugated in the present, and then our main verb manger is not conjugated or left infinitive. Side note, it's really helpful to just think about this in terms of the formula I've given you. If you try translating word for word here, you'll get very mixed up. So try not to think of going word for word for word. That will mess you up. Okay? And then finally, you, formal you, are going to dance. Vous allez danser. Excellent. You guys were prepared. Good job. Any questions about the near future? Okay. Let's move into the lesson. Leçon 17, l'achat des vêtements. Buying of clothes, essentially. Vestments is like a really old English word for clothes. Vestments. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds more like a word used for like what, like Catholic priests wear vestments? Or maybe that's something, vespers? No, that's something else. I don't know. Anyways, vestments is like an old word for clothes. And as you know, the circumflex here tells us that there used to be an S after the letter. So I don't know if that helps you remember. If this is like totally foreign and confusing, you can just forget it. I always try to come up with ways to help you remember. All right, some vocabulary. As you recall, our textbook teaches us how to have a conversation and then fills that conversation with all the vocabulary. So first we have for les vêtements, our conversation starts with talking about stores and buying clothes. Où vas-tu? Where are you going? Je vais, I'm going to the store, to the department store, to the mall. Qu'est-ce que tu vas acheter? Which we actually pronounce this acheter. Qu'est-ce que tu vas acheter? Je vais acheter, see the near future here. I'm going to buy blah, blah, blah. So tell me now in the chat, when you see this list, without even looking at the English, do you feel like you could mostly figure out what it means? Maybe look up the verb acheter. Awesome. Like you're familiar with how the questions work. Excellent. Somewhat. Cool. Okay. Cool. Let's do these together. So I'll levez les mains, tout le monde. I'll have you come on and just read them. So tout le monde levez les mains. Les vêtements. Une casquette, un blouson, un manteau, une veste, une chemise, un polo, un pantalon, un pull. So let's see. Chemise here with shirt. It could be like I don't know. I see on a lot of like clothing websites like the word tops, so it could be kind of like maybe on the nicer side, maybe with a collar. That's kind of the connotation there. Pull is sweater or like even those sweatshirts without a hood kind of thing. Like you pull over, essentially. Un Jean. Un impair, which is short for un imperméable. Des chaussettes. Une cravate. Un chemisier. I guess blouse is a little bit more of like with the collar, and chemise is like a nicer shirt, not a t-shirt. Une jupe, une robe décollante. Okay. Yes. So can I have Elizabeth, can you read this column? And then Charlotte, can you read this column? We're just going to practice our pronunciation.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Une casquette, une blouse,
Blouson.
un manteau, une veste, une chemise, un polo, un pantalon, un tol.
Very good. The French only, this is kind of a consistent thing you can rely on. The letter U is almost always a U, a very small lip sound. Poule. Good. Good. Good job. Charlotte, can you do the second column, please?
I can try.
Good. If you want.
Un imperméable,
Perfect.
des chaussettes, une cravate, un chemisière, une jupe, une robe, des collants.
Very good. Excellent, Charlotte. I don't know why, but saying collante is really fun for me. Okay, can you guys lower your hands? Re-raise them. Let's talk about connotations here. So, une veste is a jacket. And this, I think, if you look in the textbook, I'll pull up the page for you. So we have kind of a few different kind of coats here. So we have un blouson, it's kind of like a jacket, I would say in English, like maybe more on the casual side kind of coat jacket thing. Un manteau is more like a coat, like a longer coat, like a maybe slightly fancier coat, but not necessarily fancy, but just like a longer, more formal, like this is a coat. Heavier, maybe is what I'm trying to say. And then une veste is kind of the collared deal for men and women. And then une pull is definitely like the casual sweater. An impair is raincoat specifically. So language is funny. There's like different when it comes to clothing. We even in English speaking languages like between Australian and British and American English, we have very specific words for just what kind of jacket we're talking about. All right, next, les chaussures. Oh, good question. Why impair and not coat of rain? Do you guys know the word permeable in English? Or that means that something, I learned it in science, like that water can go through, like permeate through something. So if it's impermeable, then the water can't go through. So that's kind of where that logic came from. So we went with like a coat that you wear in the rain, and they went with like a waterproof coat, essentially. All right, les chaussures, des chaussures, une chaussure. So the shoes here, they give you we normally obviously refer to them in the plural because all shoes come in pairs, but they've given you the singular just so you can know what gender they are. Des chaussures, une chaussure. Des tennis, un tennis. Des bottes, une botte. Des sandales, une sandale. Des baskets, un basket. So chaussure is kind of the general word for shoes. Tennis is kind of what we think of as like exercising kind of shoes. Or no, sorry, the other way around. Baskets are more of the kind of exercise ones. The kind of bulkier ones, and I think tennis are just kind of like lace-ups in general. Generally speaking. Les vêtements de sport, un t-shirt. So because this is a borrowed word from English, we actually pronounce the T at the end. T-shirt. This what funny things about language that happens in language. When we borrow from other languages, we tend to pronounce it similarly to the way it was sounded originally. Un short, un sweat, un survêtement, which is a jogging, like a jogging suit, sweatsuit, and then un maillot de bain. So the double L makes the Y sound, un maillot de bain, swimsuit. Note here that shorts and then also pants are singular. In English, they're plural, but in French, they're singular. All right. Can I have Madison read this column and Xavier read this column? Vas-y. Yes.
Les chaussures, des chaussures, des tennis, des bottes, des sandals, des baskets.
Perfect. Well done, Madison. Xavier?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Des shirts, shorts, sweat, sous-vêtements, maillot de bain.
Perfect. That sounded excellent. Well done, you two. Be sure to lower your hands and re-raise them. That sounded good. I don't think I have any. I was going to say something. Oh yeah, different. Okay, so side note, you guys, if you send me a private message, which you are totally fine, welcome to do, I'm not going to answer it until the break when I stop the recording, because the nature of this recording is it's not it's not in the system. I'm recording like my screen, so it will come up on the video on YouTube for everyone to see. And you're sending me a private message. So just so you know, if you're sending me a private message, that's fine. I'll answer it at break. All right, and then finally, les accessoires. Kind of a harder word. So we pronounce that first C hard and the second one soft. Accessoires. Une ceinture, it's a belt. Des lunettes and des lunettes de soleil. So Emily, can you read us these, please? Yes.
How do you say the first one?
Les accessoires.
Les accessoires, une ceinture, des lunettes de soleil.
Good. So because the word lunette here ends in an E, I mean the S makes it plural, but because there's an E, we actually do pronounce the T here. We just don't pronounce consonants when they're by themselves at the end. So you could say hey, sorry. Okay, my computer wanted to do an update. Okay, des lunettes de soleil. Can you say those two last ones again? Good job. All right, good job, guys. All right, and then some verbs. We have acheter, porter, and mettre. Acheter is to buy, in this section where you're referring to clothes. To buy. Porter is to wear. Like I was thinking of it as like putting on and porting around. I don't know why that makes sense to my mind. And then mettre is to put on. I have no clever way of reminding you of that. All right. So, any questions about the vocabulary we just went over before I move on? Okay. Little tiny grammar thing. It's like the only grammar thing. In French, nouns that end in EAU in singular end in EAUX in the plural. So I remember we talked about nouns in the plural in French. Nouns in French. Wait, to make French nouns plural, we usually just remember, add S, which was easier than English, which is S or ES or whatever. But there are some exceptions, with a few exceptions. But I think this one's pretty easy because it's a weird looking ending. O, you just add the X, and the pronunciation stays the exact same. So we have un chapeau, des chapeaux, un manteau, des manteaux. And that's it. We know we're talking because these sound the exact same, chapeau, chapeau, manteau, manteau. We know that we're talking about singular plural because of the article. Un chapeau, des chapeaux. Which is why I always tell you to memorize the articles and use them in your sentences more often than we do in English. It's because often the articles tell us whether we're singular or plural. Any questions about that? I think in English we have a borrowed word from French, beau, which means well, it literally means handsome, but I think in English we use it to refer to if a girl has a beau, she has a special man friend in her life. Okay, and then if she's really popular or whatever, she may have more than one beau. Um, is this where you live? Do you use this at all? Okay, cool. Yeah, it is kind of maybe more of a southern word, but you've heard of it. Okay, or not heard of it. Our country's pretty huge, so there are lots of parts. My Wednesday class recognized it immediately. I think maybe that class has more people in the South where French settlers had come before, and so there's a lot more French lingering in the English language down there. All right, so why don't you go on the whiteboard and tell me what you're wearing. Don't forget colors. I'm going to go off the video in case there's lag. How are you guys, or tell me, how's the lag right now? Not lag? Okay, not too bad. Okay, so go ahead and tell me what you're wearing. If you don't want to say what you're actually wearing, you can just pretend. Pajamas. Pajamas. Oops, no S. That was my English fingers. Yeah, just singular. So don't forget, you could use complete sentences like je porte. I'm wearing une chemisier, kind of a collared shirt, blanche, et des pantalons noirs. I did it again. So pantalon is singular and it's singular in French. Un pantalon noir. Jeans is un jean. It's all in your textbook. Pajama is masculine. Good question. Let's see. The only clothing item I have in my clip art are glasses. Je porte un chemise vert with a T, verte, vert. Good. Helmet pajama. Nice. Why don't you put that in a complete sentence? Nice. Je porte un pyjama. Lots of pajamas. Nice. Je porte des pyjamas noirs. Except in French, you can just say pyjama singular. You can say un pyjama noir. Je porte un polo et un jean. Je porte un jean bleu. Je porte un bleu pour. So in French, adjectives come after. Remember, except for our bangs adjectives. So you would say the color is an adjective that does not belong to the bangs category, so it would come after. Je porte. So your blue has to come after. All right. Je porte un chemise est un Jean. Je porte une polo rouge. Je porte une chemisier blanche. Je porte un sweat, c'est un Jean. Je porte un t-shirt noir. Je porte un pantalon orange et un t-shirt gris. Good. Looking good, you guys. So for this one, make sure your blue comes after the pull. Je porte un pull bleu avec un pantalon noir. So the adjective goes after. Je porte un pyjama léopard. Nice. Leopard pajamas. Cool, dude. Alright. Good job, guys. Fun to see what you're wearing. Hear about what you're wearing. This exercise, I'm actually not going to do written. I want us to do in breakout rooms. But let's take our 5-minute break first, just so that we aren't too delayed on that. And then we'll come back and do this exercise in breakout rooms. All right, see you guys in 5 minutes. I'm jogging is sweatpants and a sweatshirt.